Happy to have on Illini women's basketball coach Shauna Green after a great run to a WBIT title, the inaugural WBIT. Shauna, congratulations and thanks for joining us. How are you?
Oh, thank you guys. I'm doing well. Can't complain. So it's been a good past few days.
Yeah, I mean, 5 straight wins by an average of 13 points a game in this tournament. You said it's not the tournament you want to be at every year, but might as well win it while you're there. So how does winning it change how you kind of look at the season in totality?
I mean, I think it puts an exclamation point on the season, right? Like the season, it was a good season because I think I've said it multiple times, but I think when you're building something, you have to go through certain processes. And I think this was something we learned a lot from this year. You know, we had some adversity early on. We had, how many games we lost by 1 point or 3 points where our, season could have been completely different. We could have been in the NCAA tournament. Then you get to Big Ten, we lose a couple games we shouldn't have lost in Big Ten, which I firmly think if we win 2 of those, the Wisconsin-Purdue game, I think we're in the NCAA tournament because we're at 10 wins in the league. But then, you go and beat Indiana, you beat Michigan at Michigan, you beat Penn State, you beat Nebraska, NCAA tournament teams. So we're playing really well at the end of the year. And then we played great against Maryland in the first half. I mean, we were rolling and then kind of, they made their run. So just so many ups and downs to the season. But to be able to end it, obviously, with winning a championship, cutting down nets, that's what you want. Only a couple teams can say they ended the year on a win. And we learned so much through that run. That's going to, no doubt help us into next year.
You certainly played like an NCAA tournament team over the last couple of months. I think 13-7 to end the season, 6 wins over top 50 net opponents. But started off 0-8 against high majors. I know Makira's injury had something to do with that. You changed the lineup, but is there anything you took away? Like, why was this team playing different? And what did you learn about as a coach and as a team going through that stuff?
Yeah, for whatever reason, I even thought we'd have a little bit more continuity coming in from last year into this year, and I think that, obviously with Makira being out for the first how many games, it kind of set us back a little bit. She was playing really well before she got hurt. And then, just different people in the lineup stepping into different roles, Jen having to run the point, KB, having to do more, Hobby trying to find her ground. There was just so many moving pieces. And then we scheduled harder. I mean, I really think it would, if we had the same schedule, non-conference as we did last year, we could have withstood some of those. And who knows, maybe it gives us confidence and we play better, but I scheduled harder. We played Notre Dame, we played Arkansas and I don't know who else. I mean, it was way harder and we just couldn't sustain that without our full roster and our full healthy roster. And it is what it is, through all those, adverse times, we learned a lot too. And I think we grew and, so you never know this basketball. You don't know. You can't look back and say, what if this, what if that? The main thing was we continued to stay together. We continued to get better. We continued to learn. They were very resilient. And at the end, we started playing really, really well.
Yeah, it felt like, Shauna, last year, it was like, oh my gosh, get to the NCAA tournament because you were injured. And this year, it felt like if you had 2 more weeks, you may have been able to make a push. Is that a fair line of thinking?
I agree with you. I really do. I felt last year was the opposite. We started really well and we really you guys saw us. We were almost limped into the final few weeks of that game. We were so banged up and we didn't play our best basketball at the end. And I think this was the complete opposite. We continue to grow, get better, get healthy. We had such a good rhythm together on both ends of the floor, that last month or so. Yeah, I would have loved, for how we were playing, I would have loved to have the season continue to go for a couple more weeks because I agree with you. I really do. I think we were peaking at the right time. And that's something that we need to continue. The elite programs play their best basketball in February and March. So we got that part right. Now we just need to be able to win some of those games early on so we can you can't have 6 wins in the non-conference and try to in the Big Ten and make an NCAA tournament. So we adjusted our schedule, I think a little bit better for this year with a good mixture. Because at that point when we were trying to finalize some games too, we didn't know who we were coming back. We didn't know if we were going to have our, the 3 COVID kids coming back. And I didn't want to overschedule. So, I think it's a right mix of non-conference, especially with the Big Ten adding those teams. There's no breaks in this conference. We're going to have enough, quad one opportunities in the Big Ten that we don't need to go out and get multiple quad ones in the non-conference. So we kind of made some of those adjustments as well.
Pretty good at this thing. Now you transitioned to exactly where we were going, Shauna, with the 3 COVID kids coming back. To have those 3 combined with what you guys were able to do and to end the tournament with the momentum you had, like, what can that do for this program? Now, a third year of, 4 or 5 starters back. Like, what's that realistically do for you guys?
First off, it's very uncommon, and I'm really proud of it that we've been able to retain and sustain our players. I think that that's what this culture is about, people are here. They believe in what we're doing. The relationships are really good where they don't want to run away and play somewhere else. And I think that's something I've always been really proud of our culture and how we get, we can retain players, and that we need to continue that, because in college basketball, as you guys know, to be able to have a group together for essentially 3 years it is really special and not that common anymore. So I'm so happy in their belief in the program and where we're going. And they're really excited. Our entire team is really excited about being able to have this core group back another year, being able to feed off of this year and what we could do next year. So it's so important. We're going to be a veteran team. I said we were old this year, but I didn't think we were old in experience in terms of togetherness. Now we have that. Now we understand. We've been through a lot of crap together, good, bad, everything between. And that's when you can be really, really tight and be able to come together and do some special things. So I think this season, I really do. I think this season was so important for us, even the tough times. There's some really hard times, but it made us who we are, and we're going to be better because of it.
Yeah, then you get Adalia McKenzie back, plus Shea Bolin and Gretchen Dolan, who showed me something late in the season. What did you see out of the development of those 2 specifically? Shea, obviously coming from Duke and finding a role late in the season, and then Gretchen being thrown into a big role as Jada is out for the year with an injury. What did you learn about those 2 this year?
Both of them just continued to grow and get better. And I think both of them just trusted the process. And that's one of the most important things with kids now is some of them want it right away, and you want to be where you want to be before the work and the process of understanding what it takes. And they were both, very positive, great teammates, and just continue to work their butt off to get better. So doesn't surprise me with either of them. They're obviously very talented players. So Shea continued to make an impact for us and had some really good moments and key moments in games. And then Gretchen, she was playing 20 some minutes a game, in the last couple months as a freshman, and just really, I think she's a scorer. And I think we'll see more of that as she continues to just relax and understand we need you to score at a high level. But her defensive improvements were great. And that's one of the hardest things and hardest adjustments as a freshman at this level. But, so excited for both of them to be coming back. And I think the sky's the limit for both of them. So we have some really good experience coming off the bench from this year. And I think they're going to be even more impact players next year.
This episode of the Illini Inquirer Podcast is brought to you by BetterHelp. What's the first thing you do if you had an extra hour of your day? Go for a run, take a nap, read a book, show up for a friend? A lot of us spend our lives wishing we had more time. The question is, time for what? If time was unlimited, how would you use it? The best way to squeeze that special thing into your schedule is to know what's important to you and make it a priority. Therapy can help you find what matters to you so you can do more of it. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Learn to make time for what makes you happy with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/Illini today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Illini. Well, Shauna, as you know, the transfer portal is open. It's busy. And I imagine that a top need with Camille, who had a really nice season for you guys moving on, is in that post. What's your approach to the portal this offseason, and what do you think of the sell that you have with so many of these pieces returning?
Yeah, number one priority is obviously a post player and a 5 player. It's what we needed last year, and went out and got Hobby, who, you know, really just had an amazing year with us and made such a huge impact, especially in Big Ten play, as she was comfortable in our system. So we need to go out and get someone, you know, that can come in, and obviously the sell is there's a lot of minutes there. Yeah. We don't really have, obviously we have a freshman coming in, but as we all know, it's hard as a freshman to come in. I don't care how good of a high school player you are, just the adjustment period. So we'll use that transfer portal to go out and try to get some experience in that position. We have some scholarships open, so we could even take, you know, a couple 5s that may help kind of, you know, fill that area. And then probably another guard in some aspect, you know, someone that could, you know, give some spot minutes or even make an impact. If we could have someone 1 through 3 would be huge. That's more versatile and could play someone. And with Makira and Jen, I mean, you know, they're old now, they're 5th years. If we could spot a couple minutes here or there, I mean, there's a lot of games they didn't come off the floor. And so we'll address that. Like I said, we have some scholarships, and that's a nice thing to have right now. So we have official visits starting up tomorrow. So you go from season right into recruiting. And I'm really excited about the people that we have interested and that we have lined up for visits. And, you know, we'll definitely address those needs.
Shauna, I'm curious from a basketball standpoint, like last year at this time when you guys got Camille, Kendall had maybe in practice shown her ability to step out and hit some mid-range or some threes, but now that she's done, she looks more comfortable, I guess, in that. Does that help maybe try to figure out how those pieces work together because there was a growing process with yes. her and Camille early. Like, does that development help you guys out in the portal trail?
Yeah, no doubt about it, because you're right. Last year I was like, you know, can we play Hobby and KB? I remember these conversations with you guys even, and I didn't. I'm like, can KB guard a 4? And I mean, shoot, KB has killed it. She's guarded some of the top guards, you know, at the 4 spot. And especially in this tournament, we dealt with a lot of different systems that were, you know, Villanova. She's guarding a 4 player that can shoot 3, one of their best shooters. Tulsa, just what a great growth experience for KB. So now I know definitely, shoot, KB shooting the 3 more confidently than almost anyone on the team right now. You know, I mean, she's out there and she's in such a great rhythm. So we know she can play the 4 and we know she can play the 5. So now we can go out and get that true 5 player where Hobby was so great for us because Hobby could stretch it too. So that's something I do like. I mean, Hobby and KB were really hard to guard together because they could both stretch you. So that's going to be something, you know, that we look for as well. But we're also going to look for some size. I really would like a rim protector down there with some true size and ability to still move and be agile and play in transition. But you see some of all the teams and, you know, the teams that went far had a true big rim protector. You see it on the women's side, you see it on the men's side. So there's some different, you know, options out there that we're looking at. But yeah, it's nice for us to know we can play KB at multiple positions now, and she can guard those.
Yeah, not to live in the January, February months, but you said something on Wednesday that I wanted to follow up on. I didn't there. Like, you talk about looking within yourself at some points as a coach during this kind of that adverse time. Like, what did that look like? And every year, right, you probably learn about yourself as a coach during the course of a season. But like, what did that teach you or help inform you that, you know, big picture moving forward?
Yeah, you know, those, I think the tough times, the hardest times of this year were around that January, you know, early January mark when, you know, coming off the Florida tournament, lost that, you know, tight game and then, you know, coming into Big Ten play. So, you know, I always have to, I want our players to look in the mirror and to evaluate it. We talk about that all the time and how can you be the best version of yourself? And I had to do that. You know, you know, we're losing some of these close games. What am I doing? Am I being the leader that I need to be? Am I being, you know, the positive self that I need to be? And, you know, I was frustrated, obviously, as a coach. I was frustrated and I wasn't doing a great job of dealing with that frustration. And I needed to change that. So I think it's always self-reflection and I'm always trying to get better. You know, and even talking, like, I talk to, Dr. Cook, our sports psychologist, of, she knows me better than anyone. I've been with her, 10 plus years at Dayton, and she knows me. And we had some good talks and about how can I channel some of that. She knows where I'm coming from, but how can I get those messages across? And then I had talks with our players. We had, individual talks. We had, some talks with just our leadership, and kind of just, we were all vulnerable, and what do you need? And then why is this happening? What do you need from me? Here's what I need from you. So I just think being honest, vulnerable, and looking in the mirror and all of us of what we can do better. So, and once I kind of got myself out of my frustrating times, I think I was a better leader. I think that we are all on the same page, and we just continue to get better from there.
Shauna, zooming out, that said, 41 wins, 2 postseason appearances over your first 2 years. I know you want to continue raising the bar of expectations. That's pretty significant success for the history of this program. So I don't know what your expectations were for your first 2 years. I remember you saying at your introductory press conference, this might take time. So I'm just wondering, like, have your expectations risen of what this program is ultimately capable of since you took the job? Or is there anything you've learned in the last 2 years about the capability of this program?
That's a really good question. And I think that, I think you have to, I really believe we can win at the highest level. I believe that when we came here, when I really look at it and look at the big picture, to be where we are, I think, you gotta have some, again, when I'm saying evaluation, like, we've done a lot of great things. And I don't know if I would have said we could, win this many games in 2 years from where we took this program over at. But now that we're here, I want to continue to keep climbing. And I do believe now that, you can do from any program, I think now with NIL and certain things that are in there, I think there's more parity. And I truly believe that, we can compete for Big Ten championships. And, I've said this, and I said it the other day, people think we're crazy, and compete for national championships. Like, that's our vision. That's our goal. And I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight, but that's what we want to do.
I wanted to ask you about NIL, because we ask obviously Brad and Brett about it all the time, but what is the impact of NIL for Illinois? And, obviously it's not just Icon raising money for men's basketball and football. So what's been the impact of NIL on your program, and how big of a deal is it in your space?
It's huge, and it's getting bigger and bigger, and it's becoming more and more important. So it's something that, you have to have if you want to win at the highest level. And that's where, we have to continue to grow that. We need to continue to get, people to believe in that and support it, because if we don't have NIL, we're not going to be able to compete for national championships or deep NCAA runs. It's just not happening. We know that because we know what we're competing against, but we're still, right now, that's where I think that's that next piece, because, we're getting some of the top talent, some high level players that are interested, that are on, visiting us. And if we can continue growing that, then I think, we can accomplish what we want to accomplish.
Shauna, can we talk about the weekend? I mean, it was a fun weekend to watch women's college basketball. Like, what was it like? I guess I'll start with, like, you see the ratings for some of these games, and there's 14.2 million people watching these. Like, what is that like for you, who's seen this sport continue to get more and more attention, more and more interest? And I know you weren't playing in it, but certainly there must be something cool about seeing this evolve into what it's becoming.
It's absolutely amazing. You look at all the TV ratings and you look at the sold out arenas. This is what women's basketball should be. And we've had unbelievable players playing for a long, long time, but now the eyes are on us. And it's just a great time to be involved in this game. And our kids are so blessed to be playing right now in this era, because I don't think that's going to slow down. What a great game yesterday, and really the whole weekend in the Final Four. And I just hope that it continues to keep the eyes and the popularity on it, and we continue to grow this. And you see it all over, especially the Big Ten. Our attendance has gotten better, but you guys have heard me say this a million times, we still need to grow, and we we need more people out there. We need to, we need to be up getting the 8,000 to 10,000, like Indiana and, Iowa was selling out, and, everyone's getting those high attendance rates. And we need to continue to push to that, because that's what also helps you build a high level program and sustain it, is having that commitment by the community and our fans to get out and make State Farm Center a really, really hard place for opposing teams to come in and play.
So you will or won't miss Caitlin Clark 1 or 2 times a year?
I will not miss her. I think I told her that in the handshake line too, after I congratulated her and what she's done, especially me being from Iowa. What she's done for Iowa women's basketball is just amazing. I'm like, but I will not miss playing you and preparing for you. So I wish you the best.
Not just her, but I think Dawn said it right when she's lifted the sport and the visibility. Like, I'll be honest, she drew me in, and now I know more women's basketball players than I've ever known. Like, I'm glued from the Elite Eight onto that. So it's amazing the impact she has made, but to be able to withstand that and perform like she does was pretty amazing. But then you see South Carolina and UConn, like all these programs. USC, who's coming into your conference.
Yeah.
Stanford's always had great programs in that. Like, it's amazing all the talent that is in this sport.
Yeah, there's so many unbelievable players. Like, there's so many. But I do think Caitlin, you got to give her a credit, because she really, people just were captivated by her and her game, and just how she plays is a little bit different. The range she has and the number she put up, and the flair she plays with. I just think it captivated the whole country, and really, and then you start watching it, and then you're like, oh wow, this is really good basketball, and there's so many other great players. So yeah, and to think of what she did too, with all the pressure and all the weight on her shoulder, it's really amazing. That the consistency that she had. So she's been absolutely great for our game, and no doubt about that. And Dawn was right. And I thought it was awesome how, the class she showed to be able to shout her out, after she just won a national championship, speaks volumes of her.
You're one of the few with wins over Caitlin Clark. So you got that. Last thing, I'd be remiss. Fans would hate us if we didn't ask. You have a 5-star McDonald's All-American coming in, and Berry Wallace. You mentioned Haven Smith. You alluded to her earlier, coming in from Lincoln Way East. But what do you expect from Berry Wallace right away? When you have a 5-star rating, when you have McDonald's All-American, obviously people are going to be excited to see her, Shauna.
Yeah, we're super excited, obviously, to have her in her talent level, and just – the thing about Berry, she's a great player, but she just fits us so perfectly in terms of culture and worker, and just a great person and teammate. So we can't wait to get her here. But I never want to put too much pressure on any freshman or really any transfer, because I know that there's a learning curve, and I know it's a process, and, we got to be patient with her, and we will be. But no doubt, we're all excited to see, how she fits in, and how much better she can make us. And, I think that's what we want to continue to be able to attract elite players and top 25 players in the country that fit us in all areas. And that's what Berry Wallace does. She fits us in every aspect.
Shauna, we talked about obviously your returners, but when you have 4 really with the Dahlia, with as much leadership and experience, like when you're adding someone like Berry or Gretchen, like off the court, what is the impact of those 4 being able to pass on how you want to do things? And there's not a weird gap where it's a super young team, and who kind of steps into that. You have very, very, very notable leaders to help some of those younger players along.
Yeah, I think that's the most important piece as you're building a culture. And that's something even at our time at Dayton, we were able to retain our players. And so you have your seniors really setting the tone and leading by example and teaching the culture. So it's not like my first year here, it's just coaches establishing it all. Well, now these guys and our seniors, they understand, what one way means and what, Illinois basketball means, and they're going to be, the ones that are going to leave their legacy through the leadership of teaching the younger guys what it means to play here. And that's when you can continue to do special things, is when you have your juniors and seniors and your leaders teaching the younger guys, and then that continuity comes, and that's how culture is created. So, I'm really excited about that. And now, especially after 2 years in of really understanding what it takes. And I think this year we understood what it looked like when we weren't doing what it takes. And that's a good thing, because that's part of growth. And now to instill that in, and whether it's Gretchen, Corey, Shay, and then, your Berry and your Havens coming in, and also the transfers coming in. So now when these guys graduate, now that torch is kind of passed on to them, and we can continue to just evolve it. So, I think they're no doubt more prepared to lead this year than even coming into last year. We learned so much this year, and I feel really confident. I think they feel really confident in what it's going to take.
Well, Shauna Green, we know you got some work to do in the transfer portal, so we appreciate you giving us some time. Congratulations on a winning season, a WBIT title. We always appreciate the time, and good luck moving forward.
No, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys. You're the best. And, we'll get to work right now with recruiting. Like I said, we have a visit tomorrow, so we're on it.
Good luck, Shauna.
Thank you, guys.